Junior gets these fairy knots in his mane. I guess that comes with the territory of nice long manes and high maintenance, right? I've got a horse with a white face, a palomino with a white mane, and a bay horse with a thick mane that needs maintenance. I sure know how to pick them, huh? Nothing a little detangler and a brush couldn't fix. Right, bud? I thought for posterity's sake, we would weigh Junior and get a height for him and see where he's at with his growth.
Charlie was first to finish.
That was fast.
I really hope that was fucking.
I have the camera on, so you know. 784. And it looks like 14-1. 14-1 hands. We did the string test for his knee to the coronary sometime this winter, and it showed that he should be at about 15 hands when he's done growing. So it'll be curious to see if he gets to that or not. 14-1's not bad right now. And last time I weighed him was last week, and he was at 750. So he's already gained 30 pounds in a week. It's not bad at all. Good. As usual, I wanted to work Junior just a little bit free in the round pen. It helps me not only for him to be able to get some of his energy out, but it's kind of a gauge for me to see where he's at mentally and if he's ready to work with me. I guess he wanted his close-up where the camera was at. He likes to stop on this end of the round pen because that's where the gate is, and usually he just kind of wants to go back to his friends. So that's a pretty frequent thing for him to want to stop there. But yeah, I just wanted to gauge where he was at, and he actually wasn't super excited. He wasn't really wanting to just run around or anything like that too much, even though the wind was really blowing. So I kind of just play with him to see if I could bring him in. He doesn't enjoy traveling to the right. That naturally he kind of wants to blow out and travel to the left. So anytime he's free here and I am asking for a change of direction towards the right, I really have to kind of break it down for him and get him to go. So like I mentioned, I like to test where he's at mentally and if he's ready to kind of be with me and follow me. So that was just what my test was here at the end. He was ready to go to work, essentially. He's ready to listen and be with me. So now we're ready to move on to the saddling, and once again I kind of just show him the pad here for a second and throw it on him because he's seen that for 2 months now, and I let him look at the saddle here for a minute because it's still pretty new to him, and I throw it on him and he's good about it. So I take it back off, and I wanted to make sure that I could put it on him on the other side as well, because the last time that we had worked on it, trying to put the saddle on his right side, he was a lot more unsure about, and he was backing up away from it and everything. So that's why I just kind of quickly moved from one side to the next and ensured that he was fine with it on both sides. And I just kind of take my time getting him cinched up slowly. These videos, these last couple videos I've shared about it, are all basically real time. I haven't done any additional work with him in between videos, so this really is just the third time the saddle's been on his back. I wanted to make sure that I documented accurately, and that you guys could see, and for myself, for future memories to look back on, exactly how long things took and how we progressed through it. So I just slowly cinch him up, and not really in a hurry, because next month he's turning 2, well, in June, and at that time I want to have his knees x-rayed to verify if they are closed enough to start bearing some weight and lightly get started. But in the case that he is not ready, then there's no real need to be rushing this whole procedure. And there isn't anyway, even if I get on him, you know, this summer. I'm not in a rush with him. I want him to grow up and have a good foundation. And that was kind of where it's taken, yes, 3 attempts to get the saddle put on him now. But I didn't want it to be a negative experience for him, so I really try and base what I'm doing and how I'm progressing off of my feelings, the reactions that I get from him on it, whether or not he's ready or if I'm pushing a little too fast. So while most people would probably just put the saddle on and that very day get it cinched up and get him moving around, like I said, I'm not in a hurry, and I just wanted him to have a good experience. So here are those first tentative steps walking out with the saddle, and I was really pleased because I thought he was going to be a little stuck in his feet like he was in the last session. And there's a couple moments like right there where he was a little bit stuck. He kind of wanted to ask, can I stop? Is this okay? But really he does really well, and I'm really pleased with how he's taken to the saddle today. He cracked me up here. So I didn't get him totally snug before sending him out that first time, because I wanted him to be able to feel it and air up a little bit and then snug up again. And this time I start to cinch him up, and somehow he grabs hold of the leather popper on the end of my lead rope and doesn't let go, and it was really funny.
I need my rope back, please. Thank you. Come on.
I wiggled my rope a little bit too aggressively here, and he kind of shot him forward. But he was a good boy.
Very good. Very good boy. That's so weird, isn't it? Yeah. Very good. Very good. Good boy.
For the first time saddling like this, I'm very mindful of trying to not be directly in front of him. So if he, suddenly gets spooked by the saddle or jumps forward, he doesn't leap on me. That's kind of my safety precaution. So in changing directions here, I made him basically halt, and then I changed sides of him and resent him off, because sometimes when I'm doing a change of direction out here on a lunge line, he gets a little excited when we actually switch directions, and I didn't want him to leap into the new direction and then that action be a little too much and be startled by the saddle again. So perhaps I'm being a little bit overly cautious, but I just want to encourage good experiences for him.
Okay. 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 Very good.
And this is that direction for him, like I mentioned before, that it's not his choice, it's not his favorite to travel this way. He's a little unbalanced. And so this whole time going around, I can kind of see that there's a little tension in his body, and he's a little up.
Does it. Good boy.
At this point, I was kind of thinking maybe I was going to hold off asking him to lope until the next session. But he was going around really well on this good side for him. And so when I kind of asked and he offered, we just kind of continued with it. And I figured that we would go ahead and ensure that we could get the lope on both sides then.
Good boy.
I was a little hasty about asking for the lope here on this side. We had a little pogo moment, but it's kind of to be expected. And he came down from it, and then we went and asked for it again once I felt like he was a little bit more set up and ready.
Good. Try again. Good boy. Good. Try again. Easy. Good boy. Very good. Good boy. Good boy. Keep going. Good boy. Boy. Good chin. Good chin. Back. Good. Back. Good. Very smart. You're doing just fine, aren't you? Okay, so I got you on hole 3 in the rear. And probably 2 front. 3 reps. Hole 2 on 3. I feel like today was hugely successful. We got him cinched up on the front and the rear, actually quite snug on the rear too. And he didn't care at all about that process. He wasn't trying to back up when I was swinging the saddle on him like he was the other day. The other great thing was we actually got him moving. I was a little worried based on the last session if he was going to be really stuck. I'm glad I didn't push him that day. I think it was really beneficial to wait until another time. But he moved right off today, and he went really well on his comfortable direction. And then when we changed directions and traveled to the right, he's a little stiff that way anyway. So we had a little pogo stick moment, which I wasn't entirely surprised about. He kind of felt like he was asking me a question and was a little unsure, but we worked through that just fine and got some successful walk, trot, and lope, stop and back. And I think that was a really great start to first official saddling. I'm really proud of him for that. So thanks for following along on this journey, and keep watching the channel for more junior updates and updates from the other horses in the farm.